Hey everybody, so today we're going to make this cute little antique Santa Claus Christmas tree ornament. So if you want to see how it's made, how I made this out of polymer clay and tinfoil, stay tuned. Hey everybody, it's voiceover Aurora. So today I'm just gonna tell you a few things about how I made this little Santa Claus ornament. First of all, the circle you see in front of you is actually a piece of watercolor paper with a circle drawn on it under a piece of glass, which I just stole out of an old frame and then taped the edges back together so that, you can even bake on this. I could throw this in the oven if I wanted to. And that's so to make sure that all ornaments I make are that same shape and size. So here I'm just struggling trying to make sure the clay is inside that circle. So get all that prepped and make sure that it's roughly the same shape as the circle. Once that is all nice and shaped out, I flipped it over because I knew the backside would be a lot smoother because it was the side against the glass. And now I'm going to take tin foil and I'm going to bulk out the head so that it's not so heavy, because if you made the whole thing out of clay it would be, pretty heavy. So I'm just going to use a ball of tin foil and then cover it in more Sculpey Original so that it looks like a head that we're working with. And then I'm going to take my medium-sized ball stylus and poke some eyes in it. So now we've got a basic skull. I'm going to pop the eyes in. I'm trying to make sure they're the same size. And then the nose. I love all my gnomes and elves to have like that big bulbous nose. I just think it's adorable. I'm putting on his eyebrows, or his eyelids rather. Those are his eyelids. And using my tiny ball stylus to blend the top side in with the head. And then putting the bottom eyelids on. And those are just tiny, tiny snakes of clay. They're very difficult to work with. I'm trying to make sure that they're, poke a couple nostrils in his nose. And now I'm going to put his mustache on, which I should have waited till after I put his beard on. But it worked out in the end. I just lifted up the ends of his mustache and slipped the beard on. And you'll see me do that here in just a little bit. Here's his lips, which I struggled with. I should have just made one bottom lip. But no, I had to make a top lip, which later on I ended up painting over it anyway. But I wanted to make him look like he was smiling. And yeah, well, here's making the beard. And it's all one piece, and I'm just taking my X-Acto knife and just kind of making slices in it so that it looks like strands of hair. And I'm just fitting it to his face. As you saw, I had to lift up the corners of his mustache to fit it on. And some big bushy eyebrows. And again, using the X-Acto knife to put little hairlines in so that they look like hair. And it's turning out really well at this point. I'm just like really happy with the way it was looking. And it's just putting in more hairline, little strands of hair, making it look really much more like hair than just like flat clay. That would not have looked good. And I so need to take Ace of Clay's ear tutorial. Oh my gosh. I struggled with these ears. I wanted them to look more elf-like, not human ears. I wanted elf ears, so I wanted them pointy, and I really had to take a lot of clay off of them and everything to make them get that pointy look. But they turned out pretty well. I was really happy with the way they looked. And I do the other side, trying to make sure they look identical. And they're more like sisters, not twins. But hey. You can't look at them both at the same time anyway. And let's see, what am I doing here next? I think I'm doing his, oh, that's right. We're doing sideburns for so the beard looks like it's coming down from his hairline, so it's all one piece. I just keep adding little pieces of clay and then adding the hair strokes so that it all blends together. I'm going to get that one side done, and then we do the other side as well. And I just, by this point, I was really like wanting just to put the hat on him and be gone. Like, you're done, yay! But there was so much more to do. Here I'm just messing with that mouth. It was just not working for me, and I just kept revisiting it, trying to make sure that it looked right. And now for the hat. So instead of bulking it out or using like one big solid piece of clay, I just made the front side of the hat, and it worked out brilliantly. I was really happy with the way that worked out. Because, I mean, you're not doing the back side. It's not a 3D image. It's just 2D, basically. So you don't have to worry about the back side. So this worked out really well. And I take my small ball stylus, and I'm just poking little indentations into the fur cuff around the bottom of the hat so it looks like it's furry. And then what else? What was I doing? Oh, I made the little pom-pom for the end of it. And I do the same thing with that with the ball stylus. And then I use Bacon Bond to make sure that it's not coming off the end of that hat. And then I add some holly berries. And I'm trying to make like holly leaves, but they were so small I couldn't get the detail. So I just said to heck with it and made regular old leaves. So I'm just putting those little leaves on there. It just needed a little something on the side there. And that's when I decided also that I wanted to make little, like, some kind of a pattern for the background because it looked kind of bland. So I just made little balls of clay and just kind of stuck them all over the place. And I figured I'd paint them a separate color than the rest, make it look like ornaments on a tree or something. And then I started looking at the hat going, I think I'm going to try one of Ace of Clay's little tricks where he used the small snakes of clay to make fabric look like it's slouching. So I did that on the hat, and it came out so cute. I was really happy with that. That's a really cool effect. Now, you can see me, I'm just kind of like blending it in there with my tiny ball stylus so that they look like folds and wrinkles. That's a really cool trick. And then I realized I hadn't made anything to help hold this thing onto a tree. So I made like a little hoop, and I just attached it to the back side right behind the hat. So you can't really see it, but it is there. And then I add Bacon Bond to that to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And we are ready to bake. And when it came out of the oven, it was a little crispy looking. So, yes, it definitely looked like a chocolate chip cookie with a Santa head on it. But once we get it all painted nice and antique white, this is not a stark white, it's an antique white, so it's a little bit off-white. And I paint the whole thing that color. And because my paints are so old, it took forever to dry. So I waited and waited and then waited some more. And then I thought I turned my camera on. Apparently I hadn't. So, but you didn't miss much. I mean, you got to see how I put it together. The painting is basically however you paint. And I will list all the colors that I used in the description box below. So you can, if you happen to have them, you can use them. I was using Anita's craft paint from, I think you can get it at Michael's. And I also used some Apple Barrel and a couple folk art. But I will list them all in the description box for you. But I mixed up a skin tone and then used like more pinky for like blushies on his nose and his cheeks. And I also, I don't know if you can see it or not in the video, you probably can't, but I even gave him like little crow's feet on the sides of his eyes and everything. He's very detailed. And those lips were just giving me such a hard time. Oh, and I'm so sorry that this is not all in frame. It's because I was struggling with the paint so badly. that I wasn't paying attention to whether he was in frame or not. But it did eventually come out looking good, but I ended up painting over the top lip, so all you can see is the bottom lip, so it looks like his top lip is like under his mustache, which is actually probably more appropriate anyway. But yeah, here I'm just painting those little dots in the background with the purple, and it's like a metallic purple. And you can see I've already painted the holly on his hat, and I put lots of highlights in and put some little white dots. And then I also, if you notice that underneath of his face, I left like a space open. I put 2019. Right now you can't see me doing it, but I am painting it where it says 2019 underneath. And I go back in and I go over that with gold because I didn't like the green. So, but yeah, I do little highlights on the holly berries, and I put a lot of shading underneath the hat and around his eyes and everything. And I just love the way, and he's very, very lightweight, which is great if you want to hang it on a tree. That way he's not so heavy, and it pulls the bough down, and he'll slide right off onto the floor and break. So he's very lightweight, and he'll stay put very nicely. So this is how I did that. And here I'm just adding all those last little touches. And here's where you can see I go over the 2019 with a gold paint marker, and and add a few little gold touches here and there. And he's done. Well, there you are, your antique Santa Claus Christmas tree ornament for 2019. I think it came out really cute, so give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you in my next video. Talk to y'all later. Love you bunches. Bye.